Hello, hello. How are you all doing? So we got story today. Oh, what your physical strength says about your political orientation. Oh, what does it say? Um, 10 pounds. All right, let's go back to the first one. Let's see what's going on. What your physical strength says on Boris Johnson, Donald Trump, Matt Hancock. Gotcha. Are perhaps not your go-to answers when thinking of famous bodybuilders, but you may be surprised to know that conservative men are perceived as physically stronger than liberals. Well, Trump is Trump is tall. I think Boris Johnson is pretty tall as well. I don't know who the hell this guy is. Um, Conservative men are perceived physically stronger than liberals. According to scientists, the University of Arkansas led research carried out 4 experiments to investigate the link between political orientation and chiseled physiques. It could just be, and I am assuming here, that men of a certain demographic, mostly men that work with their hands, tend to be stronger, and they also tend to vote the same way. Just assuming. Okay, I guess there's more definition over here, but they're both uh, pretty skinny. Uh, what your physical strength says about your political orientation. As it turns out, men with greater upper body strength were seen as more right wing, which experts link to their heightened competitiveness. That sounds like testosterone. It sounds like they have more testosterone. There's always a possibility that politicians lean into these stereotypes when making their decisions, but I don't necessarily have any data to support those claims. Dr. Mitch Brown, an evolutionary psychologist and lead author, told Mail Online. That said, physically strong men are indeed more likely to espouse conservative viewpoints, or at least what they have deemed to be conservative with their modern folk language. Or they work certain physical manual labor jobs and they tend to have families that they take care of, and they're the head of their households. And the key for identify whether or not someone's going to be a conservative is when they're traditional, which means they have kids, wives that they take care of. So they tend to be more conservative because that leads towards traditional family dynamics. It's simply a circumstance of their lives. Did I skip one? Oh, no. Thought it was an ad. What your physical strength says about your political orientation. Think of political ideology as a means towards self-interest. All politics should be a means towards self-interest. Because otherwise, why are people electing anybody to lead them? As part of the research, experts recruited 203 students, including 153 women and 49 men, and one undisclosed person. Oh, God. These participants were asked to guess the political opinions of 8 men while also ranking their strength. How do they judge their strength? Scientists also use scenario questions to gauge this, asking participants to select the men who were more likely to oppose higher taxes, abortion, or immigration, for example. Right. Well, I guess there might be some truth to this because stronger men probably have more testosterone. They're more competitive and they tend to be more staunch in their views, which means they're less wishy-washy, which means less people that are going to be either liberal or what is it? Damn it! What is the what is the word? Independent. So they would be more staunch in their views. They would stick to a certain viewpoint. They would have hard lines where they're like, you don't cross these. So yeah, they would tend to be more conservative. What your physical strength says about it. The results revealed that conservative men were perceived as stronger overall, perhaps due to their innate competitiveness of right-wing politics. Um, both sides are competitive. I don't understand what is, if one side was competitive and the other wasn't, the competitive side would win. This characterization is completely characterization words is completely wrong. However, weak men were perceived as being neither conservative or liberal, raising uncertainty over these patterns. Yeah, the weaker men would tend to be more conservative or liberal because a man that's less physically imposing with less physical strength, less testosterone, would be more likely to be social in a way that they try not to offend. They would try not to argue with people or have people dislike them. So they would be more social in a way that they would try to appease people. So it makes sense that they would be liberal or independent. All right. Strong men have considerable bargaining power that would have historically led to win contests for resources more easily. Yes, but in a social arena like politics, strong men have less power than anybody else because they're more intimidating, which means they're more polarizing, which means they would less likely be able to connect with their constituents, and people wouldn't vote for them if they just come off as strong. That would be either be intimidating or what's the word? I can't think of words now. They'll be more intimidating or harder to connect with, which means they wouldn't drive people to want to vote for them. I mean, Dr. Brown continued, when they gain access to resources, they would have it sent into hierarchies. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know. The only way for strong men to like have an advantage in a political situation is if the job that they're being hired for requires them to make tough decisions. People want less or less likely to vote for a wishy-washy person when they need things to get done. If they don't know what the job is or what it entails, or it just entails things that makes them feel better, they would vote for the weaker person. What your physical strength says about your political orientation. Physically weaker people did not have that power and would conversely favor group norms that are less competition focused. Despite this, some clinical psychologists included Dr. Rupert Kaur or Dr. Louis Goddard Crawley have doubts over the validity of these claims. While political beliefs are shaped by complex interplay of personal experience, values, and socio-cultural factors, it's crucial to recognize that these are only associations and do not imply causation. Dr. Kerr said, people of various political orientations can possess varying degrees of physical strength, and it's not a reliable indicator of their political beliefs. I would say so, yeah. They would have varying degrees of physical strength, but it would also be a manifestation of their core character. A stronger man physically would have more conviction and would be, I would say, more disciplined generally. And I don't know, man. And being physically in shape and attractive would also affect how people vote as well. So their life circumstances would be different, and the things they value would be different. what your physical strength says about your political orientation. Dr. Godard add, human behavior is incredibly complex and influenced by a wide range of factors. Yeah, but one leads into the other. Human behavior is only complex because of the wide range of factors that can influence us. Because if I would say the influence on our behavior was this exact same, there's only so many ways we can deal with issues. Like in case if the things coming at you are, I don't know, maybe rocks are constantly falling every time we go outside. The way we deal with those things would be exactly the same as most people. It would just be variations of the same thing, something to block the rocks or whatever the hell. It's just human behavior only seems complicated because of the varying factors that influence our behavior and the varying perspectives of the people who engage in that behavior. They might take drastically different actions based on the situation. Like, for instance, some people don't enjoy pain or whatever, so they would avoid painful things, but other people might enjoy those things and they might gravitate toward those things. So the people seem complex by just looking at their actions from the outside, but the factors that influence those behaviors are simply different, and not really the human element is different. It's simply the influence on that behavior is different. Including genetics, upbringing, and personal experience, and more. Attempting to explain political orientation solely based on physical strength oversimplifies the issue. Well, we have to simplify issues in order to be able to define them. You can't just say, oh, something is complicated, so we can't really define it. Like, that's just a waste of time. Perceptions of physical strength can be subjective and influenced by cultural or personal biases. What one person considers strong or weak can vary widely. No, not really. It varies, but not widely. Some people try to be contrarians and they try to downplay physical strength and say, well, emotional or intelligence or whatever those things are also strengths. It's just like, no, not by the same measurements. They aren't. Physical and mental strength aren't measured the same, so they're not really considered strength in the same way, and they don't really compete with each other in the same way. No matter how smart you are, if someone's physically stronger than you and you don't have time to plan, you don't have an advantage. The author's knowledge, this is limiting, blah, blah, blah. Our findings merely indicate the presence of a stereotype for formidable men, but not whether discriminating for blah, blah, blah. Yeah. What your physical strength? Yeah. I think that's it for that topic. It could be a stereotype, but I am thinking it's definitely based on jobs. I would say more blue collar people that work with their hands, especially men, are going to be stronger than the guys that work in offices, generally, or in better shape. Either way, and because they have similar backgrounds, they will tend to vote the same. So, anyways, until next time.